righty. How we doing, people?
Oh my God. Here we go.
Please let us know if the audio is all good.
Yes.
If anyone out there who is watching, let us know if I'm too loud, if Badake's too loud, if the music is, if you can hear the background music, if it's all good. We haven't been streaming on this channel as much as of late in season, but we're very excited. I can see some people in the chat. What's up, Hef? Sorry, I was gonna say Hefe. My name is Jeff. I was calling Jeff Wilson last night Hefe.
My name's Jeff.
What's up, Jeff? Welcome in. Daniel says, wonder who the 101 is. We'll find out together. But let us know who's here. Let us know who's here with us in the chat. If you can do us a huge favor on your way in, drop a like. This will be our first ever mock draft. We're only doing the first round for the 2023 rookie class. Please know that this is going to change. This is very fluid. This is not going to look anything like it will when we get towards, draft season in April of next year. But it's exciting at least to be here at this point.
Yes,
Steven,
exactly.
What's up? We them boys. Jefe means boss in Spanish, so I'm not offended. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it does.
Well, yeah, then Jefe's in the chat. I love it. I'm going to start using the word Jefe more then. I'm working into my vocabulary a little bit more,
Jefe.
Steven says, been a while, but had to check up on you guys. It's good to have you here, man.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, we've been doing our thing on our redraft channel. If you guys know, we do have a redraft channel.
Yeah.
So that's in the link in the description below. So definitely check that out. We've been pumping out content over there. But as always, the Dynasty, we got to show some love. College football is still here. We've been following our favorite players, whether they're doing well, whether they're not doing well. Sean Booty. He's not going in the first. Surely he's not going in the first here today. Now we'll see.
Can I just ask people though, is the stream looking okay for you? I mean, Badake, I don't know if you have the stream in front of you, but maybe you could check as well. Is the stream going okay?
It's looking good. Feeling good.
Okay, cool.
I can't
might just be weird on my side. I don't know what's going on my side, but hopefully everything's okay. What's up, Lewis? Love way too early mocks. Super flex. This will be super flex, Daniel. Jeff says, 101 likely won't change. That's true. Yeah. Curious how many running backs get taken. I know. I'm very curious where you stand, Badake, because we haven't done a mock draft together. But we're going to go back and forth, excuse me. Let's go ahead and swap to this screen. So obviously, at this very moment, guys, we can't invite you guys to do mock drafts with us. You guys know that typically we do that. When Sleeper has all the rookies in there, we can start doing mock drafts together. For a while there, we had to write it down on a document, but Badake and I are going to try this today. So, this is just a mock draft simulator, and we're just going to go from 1 to 12. We're going to do the first round here today. If you can do us a huge favor and drop a like if you like the content. Every like really does help the channel. Currently 26 people watching. If you can help us get to at least 30 likes or so on this stream, that would be awesome. But okay, I'm just gonna turn my stream off and just make sure I watch the comments here, because I don't know what's going on with my stream.
It looks good. It feels good. So let me know if I'm too loud, by the way, guy.
Yeah, let us know if anyone's too loud and if anything needs to be changed on the stream, because we don't want the entire stream to be, either way. Stream looks good. Okay, cool. Trenton says 20th, I guess. Okay. What's up, Jake? We actually just graded one of your trades, or talked about one of your trades on one of our videos. Welcome in. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Again, just so we're all on the same page, we are doing a 2023 mock draft. We're doing the first round for the Dynasty rookie class. This is how we currently view this class. It is not how, it's going to end up being, when come draft time or after the draft. So just, bear with us as we go. But do you want to take first, or should I take first?
Should we flip a coin?
Yeah, I think we should flip a coin, because first is so easy. But
tell Siri to flip a coin.
Okay, tell Siri to flip a coin. What do you got, heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Hey Siri, flip a coin. It's heads. I don't know if you can see that.
That's fine.
Can you see that?
Yeah, so you go first.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go first. So, I don't know. Who should I take with the first overall pick? Yeah, I'm going to take Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. I don't think it's going to be... I think the rest of the draft can change drastically. in the next year, whatever it could look like. But I think as of right now, I think we can all agree that Bijan Robinson is a clear 101 in Dynasty drafts. He's had a great year thus far. A couple down games, but you even see him like working in like the games that he's not been super efficient on the ground. He's offered a lot to his team in the air. For example, versus Alabama in week 2, that was a really close game. In fact, if Quinn Ewers didn't go down, I think Texas legitimately could have won that game, but he wasn't efficient on the ground, but he was efficient through the air, helping his team that way. I mean, right now he's on track to put up easily 1,500 yards. I mean, maybe 20 touchdowns on the year, who knows? But the clear number one of the best running back prospects we have seen since Saquon Barkley. So that was an easy pick for me. You're up next. What are you thinking here with the 102? Because this is where things get interesting, man.
This is where things get interesting, and I think I just have to go with my QB1 on the season. I said it before the season started, and it looks like it's going that way. Give me out of Ohio State.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, CJ Stroud out of Ohio State. I mean, he's doing fantastic so far. I mean, that Ohio State hasn't lost a game, 18 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He's been playing phenomenal, in my opinion. I love everything that he's doing there. So I would definitely be taking CJ at the 102.
All right, so CJ goes at the 102. You know, I don't think that's surprising, but I think we could both say that we don't have a 102 locked in yet. Is that fair to say?
No.
Between you and I, like, this is how we currently see it, but I'm saying like it's not like as if this couldn't change.
Oh no, yeah, anything can happen. I know a lot of people really like Bryce over CJ. There's a big Bryce believers. Not that I'm not a Bryce believer. There's a big Bryce over CJ believers, and there's a lot of CJ over Bryce believers. So I guess pick your poison. I think they both will be fantastic. And you know, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, when you look at quarterbacks that are coming in, these two are quarterbacks that are going to be in the NFL for a long time.
We believe so.
You know, like, you know how when you see, like, for example, Zach Wilson's like, oh, you know, he could be something, but I'm not sure. But like when Kyler came in, it was like, damn, he's going to be in the NFL for a long time. This is how I personally feel about CJ and Bryce. You know, like they're going to be leading their offenses every Sunday for many years, unless something drastic happens, purely.
Yeah.
But I think these are pure, like, they're not generational, but they're going to be in the league for a long time, which makes it very, very comfortable.
These two classes, guys, of 2022, what we just drafted, and 2023, they could not be more different in what they offer. 2022 quarterbacks were awful. I mean, we didn't see a quarterback outside of Kenny Pickett get drafted until the 3rd round of the NFL draft. Kenny definitely could still pan out. Like, he's in a great situation as far as Dynasty goes. But these classes are polar opposites. Quarterbacks are really good in this class. I mean, we like, I would say CJ and Bryce are like the more finished products, but there's a lot of raw material here to work with that could be special. But wide receivers, like, last year's wide receiver class was actually pretty good. And I don't think we can say that about this class. We'll see how many wide receivers go in the first round. That's actually what I'm most interested about, Badake, is how many wide receivers will go in the first round this year because of rookie dynasty drafts. Because I'm struggling to think of more than like 2 or 3. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so you went with CJ Stroud as your quarterback 2. We are going to leave time at the very end, guys, to answer questions as well. We just want to make sure we get through this for anyone who watches later. But please feel free to drop your questions in the chat, to contribute. And we're going to go back and, we're going to leave time for Q&A. All right, so Bijan's the 101. CJ Stroud's the 102. I agree. For me, when I look at this quarterback class, I personally have CJ in his own tier. I think he is the clear number 1 pick in the NFL draft if a quarterback needy team is there.
Yes.
That could change. Like, let's say if Jacksonville plummets and they end up at the 101, Will Anderson will be the number 1 pick. So, but if you have a team like the Seahawks or the Falcons or Washington who ends up at the 101, or Carolina, for example, it's going to be CJ Stroud. That's how I see it right now.
Giants won't be there, tell you that much. We're freaking winning games.
Doesn't look like it, does it? Okay, here we are at the 103. And this is where things get pretty interesting.
Yeah, you can go any way here, which is...
I really feel like I can go any way I want to. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's between 2 names for me right here. and I'm not going to say them because I don't know what you are going to do next.
Yes.
I'm not going to overthink it. In a super flex league, I do think there are 2 quarterbacks in particular that look like clear franchise quarterbacks. So I'm not going to overthink it too much. I'm going to go Bryce Young at the 103. We both like Bryce Young, but again, the way I view, it's kind of like how I viewed the running back class last year. I had Breece Hall in his own tier. I had Kenneth Walker in his own tier, and then everyone else was in a different tier. That's how I view CJ and Bryce. I have CJ in his own tier, and I have Bryce in the second tier all by himself. And I think the reason is just because, for me, Bryce's size worries me a little bit going into the NFL. We have seen quarterbacks historically who have been incredible in college, but at 6 foot, 194 pounds, you will have issues in the NFL being able to see over the offensive line. That is something that you're going to have to work around as an NFL quarterback. Now, we have seen plenty of success stories. You know, Kyler. I think about, Kyler's definitely a good example. I would say even Drew Brees is a good example. So the talent can ascend, you know, the size issues, but as far as arm strength, there's not an NFL throw that Bryce Young can't make. As far as IQ, it's there. I loved in the first couple weeks how we started to see him use his legs a little bit more, because we didn't see that at all in his Heisman year last year. But he looks really, really good this year. Went down with the injury versus Arkansas, so we'll have to see, you know, with his shoulder, we'll have to see what his status is moving forward. But I assume he's going to be back to himself and he's going to be healthy. He's looked great. He's looked the part. Both CJ and Bryce have looked like top 5 picks so far in the 2023 NFL draft class. So I'm not going to make it any harder than it needs to be. I'm going to go Bryce at the 103. Where do you go here now at the 104?
Sorry, I'm just laughing because everyone's saying, wait, Badake is like saying Kyler? Like,
he's
what?
saying something not negative about Kyler Murray? What? Yeah, I love it. I see it.
Okay. I'm tossing up between 2 players
tough,
here.
Man.
Yeah, I am tossing up between 2 players here, but I think I'm going to go positional player, skilled player here. Give me Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Oh, okay.
I personally think this feels really comfortable right now, even though he's not playing right now. He is injured. I still do believe he's going to go ahead of maybe the one other wide receiver we're thinking of, or the quarterback we're thinking of. So I really like Jackson Smith and Jigba here. Once again,
say that
hasn't played.
Fast.
Yeah, honestly, hasn't played yet so far. But I think the draft capital, we all know what he can do. We all know what he's done. Even if he doesn't play another snap here this year in college, which I doubt. I think he will play.
Yeah.
But even if he doesn't play, I still do believe he could be the wide receiver 1 off the board.
And I think like, just to bring, like, I'll be honest, I have a new number 1 in this class, and it's not Jackson Smith. But to back what you're saying, like, this is Ohio State. It is wide receiver university. There's a couple colleges out there that are wide receiver university. What were we all talking about when Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson were being drafted? I mean, I personally wasn't devaluing them because of Jackson Smith, but we were looking at Ohio State saying, well, Jackson Smith is outproducing all of these guys. He's going to be incredible. Now you have Emeka Egbuka, who has come into this year.
Come on, baby.
And we have fallen in love with Emeka Egbuka, by the way. He was the number 1 wide receiver in his recruiting class. He likely is going to be a top 10 pick in the 2024 draft class. He's outproducing Jackson Smith as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. When you have a college like Ohio State that brings in wide receiver talent at such a rapid rate like they do, this is going to happen. With Jackson Smith's injury, he will recover. He will have more production. It's coming. Don't worry. For anyone out there who is worried about his production so far this year.
And I think that's why a lot of people are leaning, I don't want to say the name, but are leaning the other wide receiver, because I don't know if you will take him next, but are leaning the other wide receiver just because of, you know, we haven't seen Jackson on the field. At least that's maybe it's just like the recency bias.
Sure, yeah.
Because if he was just doing where he picked up where he left off last year, then maybe it would have been such a clear gap between these two. But it is getting closer the way, you know, he's performing.
So, man, it's really like, I honestly, here at the 105, I'll be honest with you guys, there are 4 players I'm considering here at the 105. And to me, one of these players, I absolutely loved his film last year. He transferred. I loved his film last year.
Mm-hmm.
My worry for him this year was that he was not being utilized on the ground very much. And I needed to see a couple games where he was starting to be utilized on the ground. My comp for him has continually been Aaron Jones. I've seen a lot of Alvin Kamara comps. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and take Jahmyr Gibbs here.
Okay.
Running back out of Alabama. He'll be my 105. When we made a video about him, again, I said, look at Alvin Kamara's game, look at Aaron Jones's game. This is exactly what Jahmyr Gibbs can bring in NFL offense. We both really, really like him, and we've seen him be incredible in the air for this team, but we haven't seen him really get the work on the ground. I mean, if you look at weeks 1 to 4, he didn't have a game over 9 rushing attempts, and that was slightly concerning for us. But also, I mean, he's set to like break some running back records for receiving for Alabama as well. So you see a lot of games where he has over 70 receiving yards, over 60, over 40. He had 3 games in a row where he scored a receiving touchdown. But here versus Arkansas, when Bryce Young went down, you saw Jahmyr Gibbs take over and you saw the explosiveness, you saw the speed. So Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, he is my running back 2 right now in the class. I do think he is a workhorse running back. Ran for 206 yards versus Arkansas. And when Bryce Young went down, what did we say? Like, you know, we go live every week and we recap college football. My thought process with Jahmyr has been, I think it's the philosophy of this offense this year is that Jahmyr Gibbs isn't necessarily going to be needed to be a workhorse on the ground because of how they're using Bryce Young in the air. It's a very air raid offense, if you will. So it was awesome to see this week. This is exactly what I needed to solidify him as my RB2. He's incredible in the air. He's incredible on the ground. Jahmyr Gibbs truly has upside to be a top 5 finish at the running back position at some point here, you know, in the next couple of years. So I'm going to take him at the 105, but it was very close between a couple players.
Yeah, no, I think he's doing fantastic so far. And that's just to reiterate, I mean, 200 plus yards on the ground there. And that's what we were saying, you know, it felt a bit disappointing at first where he wasn't getting the usage on the ground.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, get him on the ground, and they did. So I think it's fantastic. Jahmyr Gibbs, also my RB2 in this class. So I'm at the 106 here. Bijan, CJ, Bryce, Jackson, and Jahmyr Gibbs off the board. And, you know, I actually thought you would go with this guy. But, I mean, I completely get, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs there. I think it's the next best guy, in my opinion, who I was tossing up at the wide receiver position. Give me Jordan Addison here.
Yeah, it was really close. Really close for me between those two guys.
Yeah, the fact that he transferred, you know, from Pitt, going here with Caleb Williams is just a huge W for the kid. Caleb Williams, a superstar. Jordan Addison, another superstar. Yeah. Both doing tremendous things. This past week against ASU, 8 receptions, 105 yards. No touchdowns, but the man is doing work right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a touchdown in every single other game.
Yeah, so look, I mean, why not?
The thing for me is Jordan Addison is my wide receiver 1. But I'm still taking like Bijan and Jahmyr before those wide receivers, so that's where my holdup was.
Right.
So like for me, that's why I wasn't able to take Addison just yet. He would have been my next pick. I was hoping you weren't going to take him. But right now, Addison is my wide receiver 1 in the class. I mean, he's shown us everything that we need to see. And I saw an interview. I don't know if you've seen this interview yet, but if anyone's out there, I'd encourage you guys to watch it, where he talks about wearing the number 3. If you don't know, Carson Palmer wore number 3 at USC. It's like a very, you know, holy number, if you will. He had to call Carson Palmer, and Carson Palmer doesn't just give it out to people who are good. Like, they have to have the character as well.
Right.
And Jordan said he felt really honored that Carson Palmer, like, would allow him to wear his number. And people were asking, why did you want to wear number 3 at USC? He's like, just because it's after my biggest mentor, which is Calvin Ridley. So Calvin Ridley is, you know, and Jordan Addison, they're in each other's lives. And he looks after Calvin Ridley as, like, his inspiration. And really, when you look at his game, like, it very much does mentor Calvin Ridley. I've heard some people say they see little signs of Justin Jefferson. That's a little much for me. But, you know, the way Calvin Ridley could win the top 10 years that he had, I love Jordan Addison. He is my wide receiver 1 in the class. I was hoping maybe you would go a running back there so I could grab him. And, it's always fun making picks with guys that you love. So I'm glad you're able to get him there at the 106. But he could definitely be 105, 104. For me, again, like, let's say these two quarterbacks went off the board, and then here at 4, you went Jahmyr Gibbs, it would have been Addison for me. That would have been my next pick. So.
It's going to be very interesting how this falls. I do believe these are the top guys that are locked in. It's just going to be jumbled up whichever way, unless somebody really comes out of the works.
I personally think it's all up in the air still.
Still? Okay.
I still I think these guys will be there, but I don't think that it's unrealistic that it could look different.
I think it depends on the team as well, obviously. But one thing I want to say, I think for me, Bijan and Gibbs are my top 2 running backs, and I think there's a massive fall off. After that for me. Excuse me. So yeah, I'll make my pick. Oh well.
It's actually my turn.
Yeah, you make your pick.
Hey guys, before I make my pick, we're halfway through this first round. If you can do us a huge favor and drop a like on the stream, if you like the content, we can see a lot of people are here today. A lot of people are enjoying the content. Easiest way for you to support what we're doing, words are hard, is to drop a like. 62 people watching, 40 likes. Let's get to 50. Why not? Let's get this channel back up and popping. Let's get back into the Dynasty mindset. But I'm going to go ahead and make my pick here at the 107. I was praying that Jordan Addison would be there.
Right.
And he's not. This is where things get weird. Jackson's off the board. Addison's off the board. Jahmyr's off the board. Bijan's off the board. There's a couple quarterbacks I really like as far as like raw prospect quarterbacks on the board.
Right.
I like one running back in particular. He's still. I have one other running back in the same tier as Jahmyr Gibbs. I know that you said that was like Gibbs was in his own tier. I have one more running back in that same tier as him.
Okay.
But, I mean, that could change depending on how the rest of the year goes. All right, look. With what I currently know, the issue is all the rest of the players that I could pick here have huge question marks. Huge question marks. And the next pick that I'm going to make is going to be controversial. It's going to get a lot of people maybe upset.
Say in the chat.
This is based off of me projecting how we will view the quarterback class in March or April. Okay? If you look at any mock draft, this guy is not going anywhere near the first round. But I think he's proven enough to warrant being in this conversation. And I'm kind of scared to make the pick. But you look at Jalen Hurts. No,
right,
this is controversial. This is controversial. Yes, I promise you, people will be upset with what I'm about to do.
I have a thought process of who it is already, but continue. Sorry.
You look at Jalen Hurts and how he wins. Anytime there's success in the NFL, there's a formula that other teams may want to follow.
Right.
And while I understand that this quarterback has his limitations with his arm, I think his overall game, you could place him into an NFL team right now. And if the team around him, like the Eagles, is good enough, I think he can, in a year or two, lead them to the playoffs. I love his mindset. I love his grit. I love his overall game. I think he's going to continue to grow. And that is KJ Jefferson. Okay. I'm taking KJ Jefferson at the 107. Again, this list is fluid. This list may change. KJ Jefferson has shown me enough right now to have him as my third quarterback in the class. Now, there's another quarterback that I really love that is right kind of in that tier for me. But KJ Jefferson, after losing Treylon Burks, guys, after losing his best weapon, someone who put up more production than most wide receivers last year, he has been on an absolute tear this year. Has thrown 9 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So he makes very smart decisions playing in the SEC. But not only is he decent through the air, again, what he can do on the ground is very special. 312 yards so far through the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns. A true dual threat quarterback. Got injured versus Alabama. But this isn't someone in the Pac-12 facing weak-ass defenses. KJ Jefferson is going up against the best prospects every single week in the best conference. Alabama, Texas A&M, Cincinnati earlier in the year. The SEC is legit. It is the real deal. To me, I know KJ Jefferson is not in anyone's first round mock drafts in the NFL draft right now, but to me, he should be ascending there. And there's like 3 or 4 quarterbacks that I'm watching this year that are not in anyone's mock drafts in the first round, and I'm thinking to myself, they are ascending, and all these players that you guys thought before the draft that are quarterbacks that could be franchise guys, in my opinion, are not. They're descending. So KJ Jefferson, to me, I understand it could be early, and I could just be completely out of my mind, but he looks like the 3rd best quarterback to me right now in the country. So I'm going to take him here at the 107.
Okay. Yeah, look, I mean, he's been doing his thing. Everything that's happening on paper and in the games is fantastic. Let's see. Anything can happen as we get closer and closer to the season. Somebody random always pops up and says, "Whoa, who's that guy?"
Who's that guy?
Who the hell is that guy? I think this makes it easy for me. I thought you would go a different way. I guess I was always going to pick this person. I don't think you were ever going to pick him. It's Will Levis.
Yeah.
This feels really comfortable for me. A guy that I'm really excited about still. He does have a lot to work on, but I think that's okay. Specifically, and I know why I'm saying this, and I guess maybe in a biased perspective, because I do believe we do have a chance to get Will Levis.
The Giants.
The Giants, because we, as in the Giants.
Not as in me, that's you.
No, not me, yeah. So I like everything that he's putting on paper. The things that I said he needed to improve on, it was more looking down the field, staying in the pocket and not running. Same thing that you said. Completely agree. I love what he can do with his legs. I love that he has the arm. You know, he just needs to continue to progress. And maybe as the season goes on and we do get closer and we go there, you know, he had a tough loss against Ole Miss. He did, you know, fumble the ball and did all this other stuff, but I do believe he's progressing the right way. He's a great character, in my opinion. I think what's really stopping him also is this offensive line. He's got sacked 19 times. I'm pretty sure that is. I saw a stat. It's the highest sack something in whatever league he's in. It's not SEC. I forgot. I don't know where Kentucky is at right now, but
SEC conference, brother.
Right. Okay. There you go. That's where he's at right now. So he's sacked the most times. But I love Will. Give me Will Levis. Yeah. And I'm believing in everything that he's doing there in Kentucky.
Yeah. Will's one of those guys I really struggle to get around when I watch his game. I think he cost his team a win this week versus Ole Miss. The fumbles were crucial, and in crucial moments he made the wrong decisions. I understand where everyone's coming from, because I don't think you're alone. Like, you're definitely not alone. A lot of people love Will Levis.
Yeah, no.
Sure. I just don't think he reads the field the way an NFL quarterback needs to read the field. I could be wrong, and I could be the only one who's out on him, but not that I'm completely out. I just don't think he's a first-round quarterback still. I just don't think he is a first-round quarterback. Yeah. He's not shown me enough progression. Like, his film is worse this year than it was last year, if we're honest. That's how I'm viewing it. I think he has worse film this year than he did last year.
And I think that's because those big plays that he was making on the ground is no longer there. You know, like...
That's part of it. He also lost Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah, he lost Wan'Dale, exactly.
Something that I said coming into the year was, on film last year, Wan'Dale made a lot of plays for him. A lot of the stats you saw for him, Wan'Dale contributed. A lot of screens, a lot of slants. Anyway, look, I can see where the potential is, but he hasn't taken the step for me. But I know he'll be in everyone's conversation. So I could be like completely wrong. I could be the guy who's wrong on Will Levis. You know, I actually have 3 other quarterbacks ahead of him personally in my rankings. So this is where it gets interesting, because obviously the production isn't there, but I'm going Kayshon Boutte here at the 109. The production isn't there. Look at the quarterback play and tell me how the production is going to get there. I don't think it is. Jaden Daniels, I mean, if you watched his film from Arizona State, it did not look good. He wasn't able to consistently get anyone the ball as far as his receiving core, and we're seeing that now with Kayshon Boutte. Now, is Kayshon Boutte's attitude a problem? Yes. Is the way he's approaching the game right now a problem? Yes. But is his film and what we've seen before this year very impressive? Absolutely. If he had even a competent quarterback, he's probably going as the number one wide receiver in Dynasty rookie drafts right now. So the talent is there, and we have seen scenarios, like for example, Jamar Chase sat out the entire year, but based off of his previous film, he was still drafted as the number one wide receiver in the NFL. So I personally am still under the belief that Kayshon Boutte is a first round wide receiver. I understand that the production is really bad. Like it's truly awful. But I still think he gets in the first round based off of what he's done in his entirety of his career. I think people are able to watch these games. They're able to see his frustration with Jaden Daniels. And I think they know who Jaden Daniels is as a quarterback. So I waited as long as I could. I'll take him at the 109. And who do you got up next here?
Yeah, that's who I was going to take here because I think this is what's going to happen. He's just going to fall based off production. What's going to happen? I thought you would go another route. Okay, let me look at my ranking so far and who I should go next here.
It's tough, man, because like this is a point where there's some players that we like who might not be performing as well as we'd like them to, but we still believe in them as talents. There are some quarterbacks who have a lot of things they need to figure out still that are out there. As far as wide receivers go, it's tough. Like from here on out, I don't know if there's another wide receiver in this first round.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I think that's what's surprising is that I thought the wide receiver class would be bigger, but it's not. And the running back class also I thought will be bigger. But when I say bigger, I mean like first round talent, second round talent bigger, where like I feel like it's gonna fall into the third, fourth rounds in the real draft to where these guys could potentially get picked.
Can you and I get on the same page with one thing for 1 second though?
I'm listening.
Was the 23 draft class a little bit too hyped up? What do you think?
I think
it's like the top heavy was not hyped up.
I think
as a whole maybe. What do you think?
I think as a whole, because I thought there was going to be a lot of talent going into, which I think there still will be.
There's still a lot of talent out there.
There's still a lot of talent. There is question marks because like if half of these quarterbacks take off and they're like have amazing second half of the season, then it's like holy shit, like it can go anyway.
Yeah. To be fair, there is still like 6 quarterbacks that can go in the first round of our rookie draft here.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
But anyway, like just quickly on that, I feel like we undervalued as a community the wide receivers in last year's class. I think overall, a lot of people were focused too much on the 2023 draft class as far as wide receivers goes. Last year was an incredible year for wide receivers. A little bit top heavy with running backs. I think this year, I would say the running back class is better this year. The quarterback class is better this year, but the wide receiver class there's definitely a huge fall off from last year. So hopefully,
there was
you guys aren't expecting a huge amount of wide receivers to go in on this year. But who are you thinking here?
Just by the way, there was 9 wide receivers. I'm pretty sure that went in the first or second round. Wilson, London, Jameson, Olave, Burks, Dotson, Pickens, Watson, Sky.
Well, you mean in the first round of Dynasty drafts, right?
Yes. Yeah, those are the guys that kind of all went in the first round. So
where are you leaning here? What are you thinking?
What am I leaning? You know
110.
What? 110. I don't really feel in love with anyone right here, right now. I'm not in love with the running backs. I'm not in love with the wide receivers. So I think I'm going to stick with quarterback here. My next best available guy who has moved up my rankings is Anthony Richardson.
I love it. That was going to be my next pick.
Yeah, and Anthony Richardson out of Florida, he's doing this thing. Tremendous arm, great with his legs. Obviously, still a lot of things he needs to work on. Yeah. He will definitely be, I personally believe, maybe a mid to late round first pick, unless he continues to unless he does something crazy. Like you can see, this past week only threw the ball 10 times.
Yeah.
And nothing much happened. I think they just ran the ball on the ground. But there's a lot of things he needs to improve on, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
So, but there's still so much positive things that are coming out of him that it's kind of reminded me of how Trey Lance thought process was, because we didn't hear much about Trey Lance until the year of.
Yeah.
Same thing with Anthony Richardson. He has a bigger frame, a better body. The thought process of him going in the first round in of rookie draft just still feels very significant for us, for me at least. According to mock draft database, he's going to the Giants.
Let me ask you this, because I feel like Anthony Richardson, obviously he needs to improve, but I don't think we even need to see like Heisman form from him to be a first round pick. I think the thing with Anthony Richardson, like watching his game, he actually does have really good IQ. He's just not always making the best decisions. So he needs to improve his decisions. He can read the field. He can understand the field. He just needs to make better decisions. Incredible on the ground, big body. I mean, everything you want from a franchise quarterback. Strength, reminiscence of Cam Newton. But I think a player like this is legit a raw prospect that has all the tools to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I wasn't able to draft him ahead of KJ Jefferson is because I don't think he's there just yet. But I agree that like his upside is probably higher than Will Levis. It's probably higher than KJ Jefferson. It might be higher than Bryce and CJ. Like it truly, his upside might be. That doesn't mean he's going to reach that. Can he take the steps? And I think because of everything that's there as like a raw prospect, you might see some GMs, some coaches who might say, you know what, we can be the people. We can be the reason that he turns into be one of those top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Like out of Wyoming, we saw Josh Allen. So Anthony Richardson, there's not, like as a prospect, there is nothing missing. It's just we need to see it all come together on the field. So I really love Anthony Richardson. I was considering taking him, with my last pick. Between KJ Jefferson and Anthony, they're literally back to back right now. So there's not much difference between them for me. But I love the pick of Anthony Richardson. Let's see. I mean, he definitely needs to improve slightly, but I think he's a first-round pick if he decides to go to the NFL, even despite the poor showing in a couple games.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
you tend to agree?
No, I definitely agree. He just needs to continue to progress, continue to go on. Maybe has a Lamar story where he's like he goes in the end of the first round and just pops off like Lamar did. Maybe he sits for a year. Whatever the case may be, once again, just like Lamar did, and then comes in and goes wild. So, I do like Anthony Richardson very to this year because I was like, he needs to throw more. He just needs to throw more, which he has. I mean, 131 attempts so far in the year. So I think he's doing well.
Completion percentage, 6 interceptions. I mean, you're right. Like we definitely need to see signs of improvement, but I mean, he's got all the raw materials to be incredible. All right, I'm up here at the 111. This is tough because I only get to make one more pick, but I want to make a lot more picks. Like I want to keep making picks. Should we do like to round to like 15? Do you want to do to 15?
Sure.
16. Let's go to 16.
We can just continue going. I mean,
okay. Cool. I was like, damn, there's so many players I want to talk about still. All right, that gives me a little bit more breath to pick here. Okay. This is confusing, but I can't get over my love for a player. I love his film. The situation he's in is confusing, I have to admit. But transferred from TCU, his film at TCU, to me, is incredible. Like the film I see at TCU, I see someone who could be a top 12 running back in fantasy football. Remnants of like a Melvin Gordon, if you will. Jamal Charles, I don't want to say that disrespectfully because he's not going to be Jamal Charles, but like that's the upside he'll probably never reach. But Zach Evans, I still love Zach Evans. Transferred to Ole Miss this year. I really, really loved his film out of TCU. And he's been really efficient with his opportunities. I mean, 68 carries for 389 yards, 5.7 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. He's looked good. He's passed the eye test. What's weird about Zach Evans is Quinshawn Judkins. Let me bring him up. Quinshawn Judkins, the
eating
rookie,
into his opportunity.
Not the rookie, sorry, but the freshman is, he's eating into his opportunity. And I personally, like, I don't think that you can look at this and ignore it completely because Judkins has looked really good as well. I mean, as a rookie, he's averaging 6.3 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns. He was only a 3-star recruit. It's crazy to see what he's doing on the field right now. But still, the way I like to look at it is when Michael Carter and Javonte Williams were both popping off at UNC, we didn't devalue them because the other player was really good. So I can't look at Zach Evans and say I still don't view him as like a second-round pick in the NFL draft, maybe an early third, someone who can come in and be a starting running back for an NFL team. So I'm going to go Zach Evans here. I still like his game. Obviously, there are question marks. And look, because right now it's very much split, right? It's very much split. But if the rest of the season, Zach Evans starts getting like 5 carries a game and Quinshon starts getting like 20, then I have to reassess everything. But as of right now, what we've seen through the first 5-6 weeks, this is what I'm comfortable with doing. I'll take Zach Evans here at the end of the first. Love him as a prospect, but I have no idea how the rest of this year is going to pan out. So he's one that could easily go up and easily could come down. So I'll take him here at the 111.
Yeah, for me, he's getting there. And I just want to tell everyone, because maybe you haven't been with us, I wasn't a massive believer. I'm still not a massive believer in Zach Evans. It wasn't a...
You cut out there. Hello?
That home run.
Okay, you're back.
Okay, did I just cut in and out? Okay.
Yeah, you said you watched his film.
Yeah, I watched this film, and he wasn't a home run hit that like I loved and saw, and I can see the glimpses.
You're cutting out again, brother.
In my opinion, he's going to fall in the draft and not be taken.
All right, well, you're cutting in and out, I hope.
Be a first or second round pick.
Can you hear me? Because you're cutting in and out. You're cutting in and out a lot, yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm here.
Look, I just to be 100% clear, going into this year, I was obsessed with Zach Evans. I still kind of am. But I can't look at the usage Judkins is getting, a freshman, a true freshman, over Zach Evans, a 5-star recruit, and not at least be slightly worried. So as of right now, until I get some more confirmation from production and from opportunities, I have to at least approach it as a late first round guy. I mean, before this year, he would have probably been in my top 6 as far as like a pick for me. He would have been a top 6 pick in Dynasty drafts.
Yeah.
But I can't ignore that he's not being used the way I want him to. So again, I'm not going to devalue him completely because Michael Carter and Javonte Williams shared a backfield, and we both like really love them coming in. So I'm not going to completely put him off my board, but I am monitoring it as we go. I do love him as a prospect. I want him to keep getting opportunities. He's electric when he touches the ball, but let's see. Yeah. You're up here at the 112. This will be the last pick of the first round, and then we'll do a couple more here.
Last pick of the first round here. And look, I haven't spoken about this guy much, but I think you do have to rank him. I think the size, the opportunity is there. I mean, he came in being a really, really big prospect out of TCU. That's Quentin Johnson. I think, in my opinion, it feels really confident for me to take him here. Johnston. Quentin Johnson. It's kind of like Badake.
Exactly.
Hasn't had the quarterback play. The opportunities is not there, but the size, what we saw in the past, what we've seen already, he could be a guy that can contribute in the NFL. And taking him here at the 112,
100% agree.
I think it feels really good to me right now. Yeah. It sucks because I just want to see more. Same thing with Kayshawn Booty. Booty.
Why the hell are people on broadcast calling him Booty? It's Booty, right? It is Booty.
It's a Booty.
There's no way it's Booty.
Booty
is reserved for general, as in General Booty out of Oklahoma. Quentin Johnson, man. Again, you hit it on the head, like exactly like Kayshawn Booty, not in a system that is set to help him see production. But we love his film. We love what we've seen from him. We love the size. We love what all the raw materials here as a wide receiver. He can be a true alpha wide receiver in the NFL, but the production just isn't there because of the system that he's in. And what sucks even more is they're winning games. Why do they need to change? Like, TCU doesn't care about Quentin Johnston being drafted as a first-round wide receiver. I mean, obviously they care for, like, getting players in for recruiting purposes, but they're winning games.
Yeah, they are. I think he will fall into the second round potentially
of the NFL draft. I agree.
Yeah, he's gonna fall to. I mean, we'll take him in a second. Come New York, baby. We'll take a big wide receiver. Get Kenny G out.
You got Kenny G, man. What else do you need?
Nah, he's shit.
All right. This is where it gets again like pretty interesting. We're technically in the second round. and there's a couple names I'm really considering here, but I'm gonna put someone else on the map that I've been trying to put on the map in these live streams. And just a little bit of background: this player transferred. If you watch his film from his first school to now, you won't recognize the same player. Originally, this player was at Virginia Tech. He transferred to Tennessee, 4-star recruit. Again, was committed to Virginia Tech, played there for a couple years, didn't really work out, and then he transferred to Tennessee. And last year and this year, he's been looking very, very good. Like, the steps that he's taken have been extremely impressive. So give me Hendon Hooker here as the first pick of the second round. You know, when I look at the following quarterbacks, KJ Jefferson, Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, all these guys to me are in a tier where, like, they could change. Like, they could easily sway me either way. I like all of these players. But if you look at Hendon Hooker, to me, he's been one of the most complete quarterbacks in all of college football. Like, truly, this year he has been one of the most complete quarterbacks in every aspect of his game. IQ, decision-making, making the throws, ball placement, arm strength. He's got everything, and he can even be explosive on the ground. This is a true dual threat quarterback at 6'4", almost 220 pounds. Last week, huge game versus Florida. And he put up 2 touchdowns, completing almost 80% of his passes. And on the ground, 13 carries for 112 yards on the year so far in the SEC versus Pitt, Florida, you know, through 4 games. Over 70% of his passes completed, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Right.
On the ground, 175 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Hendon Hooker is a quarterback who can do it all. I understand he's an older quarterback. It's taken him a while to get to the place where he has been. But even if we talk about some of these other quarterbacks who are younger, like an Anthony Richardson, right? The progress that you want to see from Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker's already made that progress. He's been through a lot of college football, and he's had chances to grow his game and to evolve as a player. So I understand he's older, but to me, he's looked like one of the most impressive quarterbacks in all of college football this year. And I don't think this is going to stop in college football. I think he will be drafted this year a lot higher than most people anticipate. So Hendon Hooker, I'll take him here as the first pick in the second round.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting with Hooker. I definitely like I just don't know if he's going to be a starter. I think he will be a really, really good, like, maybe he'll have like a Teddy Bridgewater kind of, like, and you said this, you know, you kind of compared him a little bit, like he's a better and taller, faster Teddy Bridgewater, and maybe he does have the same pathway to where, like, he's going to be a viable backup. Maybe he starts 1 year and it's like, you know what, this is not the guy, but the year after is like, maybe he's the backup for Patrick Mahomes, and then he comes in, or like, shit, we got Hendon Hooker, he should be a starting quarterback somewhere, you know. It's always the conversation.
I think outside of CJ and Bryce, there is no guaranteed starting quarterback in this class. For sure. But we see the upside and the potential of all these players. Kenny Pickett was drafted in the first round. He was 4 years old this year. So I understand the age concern, but with quarterbacks, it's not the same as like a running back. You don't look at a running back and think, damn, he's already 24 years old. I mean, that lifespan is already a little bit short. Quarterbacks can play well into their late 30s. So I understand people's concerns. For me, Hendon, again, he's looked like one of the best quarterbacks in college football this year, and I love the progress he's made. And he's doing it on the biggest stage. In the SEC, has his team ranked in the top 10. If they can get into the college football playoffs, I mean, maybe everyone's talking about Hendon Hooker. Let's see. But again, this list can change very easily. It's very fluid.
Maybe. All right, you know what? Give me a guy that has fallen, but I think he still needs to be talked about. I think there's still plenty of football to be played. It's not exciting, but I think I'm going to go with the quarterback position as well, and that's Tyler Van Dyke. Once again, it hasn't been amazing for Tyler Van Dyke, and I'm not saying that, you know, and do I still believe in him? I still believe there's time to turn it around enough to where it's saying, you know what, like, you know, the tangibles are there. Can he win games? not sure. I mean, he lost some good players on his offense. It's not Romeo Dubs. Who was it? Damn, who did he lose? I forgot who was the guy that left.
Charleston Rambo left.
Charleston Rambo, which is big, body wide receiver that left, and he's still trying to find that offensive player here. He hasn't been playing the best of games. He's losing to these teams that he shouldn't be losing to, throwing interceptions. Only threw 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions right now so far. But I think he still could turn things around at the very moment. And it's kind of like the Hendon Hooker thought process. What if he does? I mean, there's a lot of free agent, a lot of opportunities where he can go. It may not be sexy, like what if he goes to Tampa and then everyone leaves, because Tom is going to be gone there and they get him in the second or third round. What if he goes to the Giants and he's a project? What if he goes to the Saints and, he competes with Jameis? There can be situations like that. Sure. Once again, not exciting. He can even go to Washington. I know you probably don't want that, but
God, no.
That's another option. But hey,
we don't need a quarterback 3.
We don't need a quarterback 3. I'm still believing in Tyler Van Dyke to kind of once again, not exciting on what's happening, or very, very disappointing, but still plenty of football.
Yeah. I think earlier I talked about quarterbacks that are on the rise and quarterbacks that are declining. For me, Tyler Van Dyke is he's completely off my board right now. Just completely don't want him, don't want to think about him. I see the upside. We talked about the potential before the year. We liked his film last year.
He was both our QB3 coming into this season, if I'm not mistaken.
Now he's not even I'm not even thinking about him, to be honest with you. Last week was awful. He got replaced mid-game. I don't even know if he's going to finish the year as the starting quarterback for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a massive challenge, and if he doesn't, obviously he wouldn't be here. But
sure,
once again,
I agree.
Yeah,
just to tell people where I'm at with him, I'm completely off. I'm completely done. I'm out. I've seen enough. So I'm done. But I get it. You're right. The raw materials are there for Tyler Van Dyke, but. Yeah, I'm just out. I can't believe I'm about to draft this player. I thought you would draft him. Here we are, Sean Tucker.
I was actually going to wait.
Tucker.
I was going to wait because I thought you might have somebody, and I'm pretty sure 16. We said to go to 16, so I was like, I'll take Sean Tucker. But no, I love Sean Tucker. You know me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you would have taken Sean Tucker earlier than this because you and I, that's bad English. We had Sean Tucker and Zach Evans in a very we viewed them very similarly.
I wanted to take him at the 12, but I think Quentin Johnston, I think it's up there, and
well, why don't I let you advocate for Sean Tucker, because I am, even though I'm drafting him here, he just faced Wagner. Honestly, who knows where Wagner is as a college? Someone tell me without Googling where Wagner is and what division they're in. This is the easiest softball game that he's faced. He's been it says 5 yards per carry. Before this game, I believe he was at, 2.6 yards per carry or something?
Something like that, yeah.
It was rough. So look, Sean Tucker, I can see the explosiveness. I can see how he can be a successful running back in the NFL, but I'm just not as high on him as I thought you were.
Yeah,
I'll let you speak on him if you want to.
I'm definitely still high on Sean Tucker. I wanted to see where he kind of fell, but I love Sean Tucker. 112, but everything that he has shown me personally, and I know, and I've said this multiple times in live streams, and I know everyone has been emphasizing that these yards per carry in college is really significant. But I think everything that he has and it has shown me has been fantastic. The burst, the strength, everything there is really, really good. I've been trying to go deep dive. I've been trying to really find out how significant his offensive line is and was. And they did lose some pieces. I'm not saying that's a case of why he is doing bad, but I love everything that he is doing. And yes, Wagner is not the best team, 59-0. But the opportunity that he got, 23, the most attempts he's got, second to most attempts he's gotten, 235 yards.
Yeah.
I love Sean Tucker. He reminds me, the way I see this is that he reminds me of a more polished, a round or two higher Dameon Pierce. That's how if that is the best way to explain it, if anyone that I can compare him to right now, I think he has a similar body strength, He can catch the ball. He is strong on the ground. And same thing with Dameon Pierce. He did all those things. He just didn't have as much opportunity, but he has the opportunity. He has the workload. The average yards, not there. But for me, as a fantasy believer, and maybe for other people, it's probably pretty significant in the fantasy community, in the dynasty community. I agree. I think Sean Tucker, like, everyone said, like Robert saying, he will be just fine. He's going to continue to shine and continue to grow. Is he going to be a first round pick? Is he going to be a second round pick? I'm not sure, but I think a third round pick feels really comfortable to me, where he can come and be something special.
Yeah, he's interesting. Can we make that your pick then?
I can 15 sure. I can 100%. That could be my pick. I'm happy.
Just because, like, I felt like he was literally the next person on my board, but I was like, I don't even want to make this pick.
No, I wanted to see how far. And I thought you would take Quentin Johnson earlier, because I knew you liked him, not like as high. But I was going to take Quentin Johnson at the point where Anthony Richardson was, because I thought Anthony Richardson wasn't going to be there. And I was like, he'll probably take Quentin, because I know Anthony Richardson will be one spot after Zach Wilson or Zach Evans. But anyways.
I'll make a pick here, and that's Josh Downs. Wide receiver out of North Carolina. Won't talk about him too much to end the show, but Josh Downs, speedy guy. I mean, I think his limitations might be there because of his size, but someone is always looking for speed in the NFL. I think he could be like a second-round pick in the NFL draft. Great speed, great explosiveness.
How tall is Josh Downs?
Can stretch the field. I don't think he's... Let me see. Let me double check off the top of my head.
It says 5'10". He might be a little bit shorter than that.
Yeah.
Man, if he was like 6'1", man.
Yeah.
I think
5'10", 175 as well. That's the problem. 175. It's like, that is extremely undersized. So we'll see. He's got the speed to at least do something in the NFL. But all right, that is our top 16. Keep in mind, this list can change. It will change. I'll go on a limb and say it absolutely will change. Bijan Robinson 101, CJ 102, Bryce 103, Jackson Smith and Jigba 104. Then we have Gibbs, Addison, KJ, which I kind of brought. I want to put him on the map. Will Levis, Kayshon Boutte, Boutte, Anthony Richardson, Zach Evans, Quentin Johnston to end the first round. And then we have Hendon Hooker, Tyler Van Dyke, Sean Tucker, and Josh Downs to, kind of round out that top 16. We'd love to open up the chat to any questions that you guys might have.
Yeah,
here.
Let us know.
We'll leave about 5 or so minutes here. And if you guys have any questions that you want to run by us, it's good to be back into the Dynasty mindset, man.
Yeah, it's really exciting. One thing I want to say, I really do believe this top 6 is not going to change. Like when I say,
could be right.
When I say top 6 not going to change, I think the top 6 players, it won't be the specific order, but I think these top 6 players are going to be going in the first round or in the first 6 rounds.
I mean, to me, I guess I agree. You said top 6 though, right?
Just top 6,
top
yeah.
6,
I think Bijan, CJ, Young, Jigba, Gibbs, Addison are just all locked in, just depending on your team construction and how you view them. It's all going to just be there.
I do agree. I just have Addison as my wide receiver 1, so that's where I would see it differently.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is interesting. It's going to change. Jake says, is this class deeper or more shallow than 22? I think it depends on the position, right? We talked about it a little bit earlier. Like at quarterback, it's way deeper. It's a way deeper class at quarterback. At running back, I think it's like really top heavy. It's really top heavy. But I would argue that it is deeper. I like this running back class more than last year's.
I think it's getting there. I mean, these guys don't feel exciting or sexy right now, but you have Tank Bigsby, Devin A-Train, Blake Corm, that's kind of doing his thing. Zach Charbonnet, that's kind of doing his thing. You do have the smaller guys like Deuce, but it doesn't feel exciting, but they're there.
I will say, like, wide receiver wise, it is clearly a shallow class. Like, this is actually one of the weakest wide receiver classes as far as a complete whole class that I think we've seen in a long time. I can't remember a wide receiver class this week. Like, truly, I'm trying to remember the last time, like, a complete class, not just top heavy. I think that's specifically where it stands out as a weak class, but everything else is relatively deep. How do you compare Addison to the rookie wide receivers this year? To me, I think he would be right around where like Olave went. I was higher on Olave though, so he was my wide receiver 3 in the class. So I would say right around wide receiver 3, 4.
Yeah,
is where I would put Jordan Addison. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that feels really comfortable. I think he goes amongst his, guys, with Wilson and Olave. You can kind of rank him the way you want him to. I mean, we weren't as high on Drake coming in. Obviously, we were wrong on that. Yeah. But, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and then maybe Jackson Smith, or however way you want to put that in order with Drake London, Jameson, all those guys there. I think he's higher than Treylon.
Yeah.
He will be higher than Treylon, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he would be higher than Treylon as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So all those guys. So Garrett Wilson, London, Jameson, Olave.
To me, Jackson Smith and Addison are like very close. So I'm kind of just that would be the same answer for me for both.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
But it is a very exciting class. Like.
No tight ends, by the way. We didn't talk about tight ends.
I guess Michael Mayer could have been considered, but
yeah, I think
he would have been the only one. I don't think I would.
I think right here, I think maybe it would have been a good opportunity at 17. Yeah. Michael Mayer. That's kind of where Trey McBride was going last year, which was the best tight end in the class around the middle of the second.
Yeah.
Early on, not after he got drafted. Really early in the before the NFL draft, he was getting drafted in the middle of the second there, in mock drafts. So it's interesting.
Jake says, with the lack of depth at wide receiver and the second round rookie picks being the bread and butter wide receiver round, what would be some good actionable advice to do with 23 second rounders? I think the big question is, are those late or those early second rounders? Because I think there is a pretty, like, as of right now, again, keep in mind, guys, we're only 6 weeks into the college football season and things will change. They can change, they will change.
Yeah, and let me also want to remind people, specifically in the either running back or wide receiver position, because I don't think the 23 class are going to be players, specifically in the later rounds, are going to be players that contribute right now. These are going to be players that take over people's jobs in a year or two, like the Alvins, like the Dalvins. That's how I'm seeing it. Because obviously, for example, Saquon, if he doesn't stay with the Giants and he goes, we need to get a running back. The Seahawks, they do have Kenneth Walker, but what happens there? The Texans need a running back. The Dolphins need a running back. The Cardinals need a running back. There's so many teams that these late players can go and may not contribute right away, but maybe in the second half or second year of their season, that's where it kind of picks up. Even the Titans with Derrick Henry, what the hell is going to happen there? So
as far as like actionable steps though, I would say if you have, like Jake is saying, if you have like a stock load of second round picks, I am very open. And we've said this in general, like if you stock up on a class, don't use all of those picks on the class. Like make sure that you build your team by moving, at least some of those picks for actual players who are already in the NFL. Who are already in the league. But like actionable steps, I'm definitely not opposed to like sending a mid to late second for some of these guys who are underperforming to start their years, like Sky Moore, for example. I'm more than happy to take a shot on Sky Moore, who right now is valued around a mid second round pick this year, according to
going
the community.
Going at like 110, 19 in drafts, rookie drafts earlier this year. So
Christian Watson comes to mind for me. To kind of like take a shot on him as a player.
I don't know if you're talking. Are you talking? But your mic got disconnected. Yeah, your mic just got disconnected. But yeah, I mean, just to continue what Zach was saying, still can't hear you. I even think guys like, for example, I doubt you can, but maybe I'm happy to send a late second in a mid second for like an Elijah Moore.
Hold on. Sorry. Everything that you've just said, no one could hear because my entire thing has been disconnected. Unless maybe they were able to hear it and I wasn't able to hear it. Maybe can you guys hear me again though? Everything okay? Hopefully everyone can hear me.
I can hear you on the stream though. I have the stream up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm sure you were contributing. I just don't know if people were able to hear it. But Sky Moore, you know, like I'd be willing. Christian Watson's another name that comes to mind. A Romeo Dubs comes to mind. Elijah Moore, I think you might have mentioned. I can't remember. Jahan Dotson, like those kind of players. Yeah. I'm willing to kind of move to see. Okay, he says we could hear Badake. Okay, good. Yeah. Addison is very built to Devonta Smith. Yeah, I can see that comp. We my comp for him is at the moment Calvin Ridley. Okay, cool. So they were able to hear you. Good. Well, I think that's probably it for today.
That is it. I mean,
this was a fun stream.
It was. Still a lot of college football to be played. We didn't hit on some players. When I say hit, we didn't cover some of the players that have kind of taken off this week. But I think that's okay. I mean, week 6 of the college football season. Some big games. What we got? Tennessee versus LSU. Who else we got? Georgia versus Auburn. I don't think that's too big. What else? Who else do we have?
Let's have a look.
That's about it. Kentucky versus Will Levis versus Spencer Rattler. Oh my gosh.
You said Tennessee LSU, right?
Yes, Tennessee LSU. Yes, I did say that.
TCU, Kansas ranked for the first time in a long time. Arkansas and Mississippi State is actually a good game. Arkansas should be ranked. They've had really bad luck these last 2 weeks. Florida, Missouri. I mean, Missouri took Florida. Missouri took Georgia to the wire.
Texas and A&M and Alabama.
Yeah,
that could be a good game.
That could be a good game. Where is that? Ohio State, Michigan State. That's always a good rivalry.
That feels like that's about it. I mean, I guess Hey, I know you say you're really high on DJ, and I'm not. I haven't moved him up my rankings, but he is like showing some glimpses.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to draft him. He would have been the next quarterback I drafted. I'm not out on DJ Ungalele anymore, guys. He showed me a lot of progression this year, so I'm not.
Somebody we're out on though, Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler is done.
Just fat GGs.
The only time you'll hear about him is from his social media accounts.
Shout out to Ole Miss though. I mean, undefeated right now.
Yeah, they look good. Special. Jackson Dart's doing his thing. Two-headed, running back crew there. That's a good team. That's a team that should be watched out for.
Don't sleep, man. Wide receiver you.
Nathan says going to watch the beginning because I got in late, but wanted to say thank you, Nathan. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, Daniel. Nathan says go Kansas. Anyway, guys, huge love. Thanks for joining us. We're 2 likes away from 60. If you can do us a huge favor, drop a like. That would mean a lot. Thanks for joining us. We're going to do, creative things as we go throughout the end season here on the Dynasty channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Good luck.
And really, really good video coming out tonight. Your morning time tomorrow.
Your morning time. Yes, exactly.
2 guys that we want to trade for right now that we think could be values in Dynasty. We go into a bunch of time and give you reasons why. Huge love. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for watching.